Hey Ningya, move the cart. Hurrah! Ha, 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 ha.
Dittai ditanu thai. Sariga ma pada ni.
How was that, huh? Jai! What?
Welcome, Karnataka Bank Limited presents solo performance Singarava by Lakshmi Chandrasekhar.
I. It's barely sundown and they're out already. The bloody rats. They have dug holes in every wall in the palace. You won't get away with it. Not as long as the Shiningi is alive. With her only son being in the city, who's there to take care of the palace if I don't? Ah, Shiva. Ah. Her own father was her enemy. And the husband, worse. What could my poor mistress do? How was she to survive? Just a story. That's all she is now. A mere story. Shiva. Wow. You hear that? That's our local theatre buff staging their bailata. If Desai were alive, he'd be there by now. I wonder where they brought the whore of an actress from this time, and how many husbands are going to break their wives' hearts. Ah, Shiva. You want to hear the story of the palace? Then it is Singareva's story you want. They're one and the same. You see the palace? But for its being in a village, it's as good as any Maharaja's palace in Mysore. So you don't see much of it from the road because of the tall wall round it. But from a distance, you can see its tiled roof towering over all the mud huts. See what a ruin it is now. Our Desai's ancestors lived in such grandeur. You see those hollowed stones lying in the yard? Do you know how they got hollowed? They would strike silver coins against them to see if any of them was fake. Imagine how many silver coins that must have taken. But no amount of wealth is enough for their kind of life. Our Desai's father, his aunts, and their husband squandered all the wealth away. Akka, another patre sapling sprouting from the crack in the palace wall. It's a curse on Desai family. They say there used to be a patre grove where the palace stands now. When Desai's men started chopping down the sacred patre trees, a Jangama tried to stop them. How can a mere mendicant challenge a Desai? They chopped him down too along with the trees and built the palace over him. But before he died, the Jangama threw some ash and cursed, "Let patre trees grow inside the palace." That's why the palace folks can't stand the sight of a Jangama. Not that any Jangama comes to the palace get to beg for alms either. Such characters and the things they did. They're all gone now. My Singareva has gone too. Singareva, how could you abandon me like this? We came here together from Nandgaon, didn't we? We must have been about this big then. It was a year or two after we got our periods, I think. Singareva's father, Pandrigauda, he was the chief of Nandgaon village. The rogue had married 4 wives, one after another, because he didn't get any children. Finally, in his old age, his second wife, Ningau Gaudti, gave birth to Singareva. Because she was the only child, all his 4 wives doted on Singareva. What a beauty she was. The very image of the goddess of beauty, Rati Devi herself, and with a heart as soft as a flower. She couldn't bear to see anybody in tears. When she was a little girl, an untouchable Holaya boy called Maria used to work for the family. I don't know why, But Gowda hated the boy. He beat him like an animal. Once Gowda was about to beat him when Singareva came between them, hugged Maria and saved him from the blow. Shiva, Shiva. My mother worked for Gowda too. And after her death, Gowda's house became my home. Singareva and I were almost the same age. But I had to work all day and sometimes get beaten as well. All I got to eat was some cold leftover rice and roti. But I didn't mind any of it because I had Singareva for a friend. Whenever they cooked something special, she would steal some and give it to me. She'd even help me with housework if none of them was watching. Being Gowda's daughter, she wasn't allowed to step out of the house. Whereas I was free to wander all over the village. I'd pick up all the gossip, come back and tell her. Singareva loved sleeping next to me. But Gowda was furious when he found his daughter sleeping next to a servant. He beat me so badly, we had to stop. Shiva, I love being with Singareva. Any free time, and I'd run to play with her. Ours was always the house game. In every game we played, I'd be the husband and she my wife. And we would have a house full of children. Singareva was forever cuddling a baby, breastfeeding one, putting one to sleep. When I, the husband, came back from work, all she could talk about was her children. And before she was done with the children, one of the gautis would yell out, "Hey, Shiningi!" And I'd be off to do my work. Can you believe it? Once, because I ran off to work, when she was telling me about her child's fever, Singareva actually burst into tears. Shiva, Shiva. If Singareva was all tenderness, her father, Gowda, was exactly the opposite. He was a wicked old bastard, that Gowda. You can't imagine how wicked. Wicked enough to sell his own child. Gowda was a short fellow. Had a big fat belly, small eyes and a scraggy moustache. One day, he had been to see the Gowda of Shirati who had taken ill. Gowda rushed home in the evening and said, "Hurry up and get ready. We are leaving for Yellama shrine this very instant. Hey Ningya, yoke the bullocks. Singari, I want you to come too. You can bring Shining along if you like. Come on. Forget about the offerings to the goddess. Just get into the cart, will you? I shall sit in front holding the gun. We shall be picking up the priest, Jangamaja, on the way. Hey, Ningya, move the cart. Hurrah! Ha, 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 ha. Yes, you are right. We haven't come to Yellama shrine. We are here to attend Shirati Gowda's wedding. Our little Singari is the bride. Give her a quick bath and deck her up. If I hear any of you squeak, I'll skin you alive. Yala Yona. Look at this. I use all my wits to convince his mother, my younger sister that is, lie to my family that we're leaving for Yellama shrine and travel through the night to be in time for the wedding, and the groom dead. If the news of his death leaks out now, his property will slip out of my hands. Hey Ningya Kalya, I'll bring the groom to the altar. You two make sure things remain under control here. That's enough. You can stop decking her up now. Singari, come. It's time for the wedding ceremony. Come on, Singari. Why are you all wailing like that? Am I taking a corpse for burial? You want me to thrash some sense into your heads? Useless. The lot of you couldn't even give me a son. My daughter shall marry whoever I choose. Who are you to stop me? Singari, come. Sit next to the groom. Hey, it's the fever. It has drained him so much, he doesn't even have the strength to sit up. Here, let me sit here and hold him. Jangamaja, what are you waiting for? Start chanting the mantras.
Om Katyayane
Hey Ningya, where's the photo man we got all the way from Belgaum? Go on, get him. Singari, hold the groom's hand. Here, let me hold his hand's too weak. Have you taken the picture? In that case, the wedding is done. Hurry up now. Grab some lunch and get into the cart. You go on ahead. I'll catch up later. Now to inform my sister about her son's death. She would have never agreed to the wedding had she known he was already dead. Well, a man needs money, property. Nothing is too foul to achieve these ends. Let Shirati Vaiva's other wives challenge me in court. The wedding photograph shall prove our right to the property. Gowda won the case all right, but the battle went on for so long that he had lost all the property before he was through. And his only daughter was a widow even before she was married. Do you think that stopped the filthy scum? He found another groom for his daughter. Hey Ningi, you accused me of marrying your daughter to a corpse, didn't you? Wait till you hear about the groom I have found her this time. Desai of Shivapura, as good as any Maharaja. Happens to be the only son too. But for his old mother, there isn't a single member of the family left. Our Singari will be a Dorsani. She'll rule over the palace as its queen. He looks skinny, that's all. That doesn't mean he's sick. Others will speak all kinds of nonsense because they are jealous. Why do you pay attention to all that? We shall have a grand wedding. Why should Singari have any objections? She is going into a rich household. They'll cover her with jewels. The court case ate up all the property from the first wedding. I shall not let it happen this time. In that household, who had the guts to defy Gowda? He went right ahead with the wedding. A month after the wedding, Singareva came to live in her husband's house. Her mother said, "Hey, Shininge, Singari is going to find it lonely here. Why don't you stay back with her for a few days?" And left me behind. That was the last Singareva and I saw of Nandgaon. We haven't been back there since. Singareva was dying to get away from her father. But the husband turned out to be worse. As for the state the palace was in, God help us. Hey, Nanji, haven't you cooked the rotis yet? The men will be here asking for their breakfast any time now. Hey, Ningappa, Siti hasn't come to work today because she isn't well. Why don't you go fetch her for a few pots of water? No use glaring at me like that. Dorsani needs the water. Go on, get it. Look at the arrogance. I could be speaking to a pillar for all he cares. Hey, Kalya, why don't you go and fetch it? See, he's as bad as the other one. Such a huge palace and just 2 men to take care of it. And they neither sweep the floor nor milk the buffaloes. God knows what work they do in the fields. They come home looking as if they're exhausted and sit here smoking beedies. Hey, Nanji, I offered to help because you were alone in the kitchen and you are trying to dump the whole thing on me. I still have to give old Dorsani a bath. She hasn't had one in a month. Can't go anywhere near her bed. She stinks like rotten grain. The old lady was a strange one. She must be 100 at least. Can't get out of bed. She panics at the mention of a bath. Who is it? Oh, it's only Shiningi, is it? Come, sit. Hey, not so close. Move! What? Come to give me a bath? No, please don't. I beg you. I fall at your feet. Oh, brought me my food, have you? Then it's all right. Help me sit up. Hey, how many times have I told you not to touch my waist? Hey, Shininge, hasn't Singari got pregnant yet? Hey, how much longer does the woman need? If I had me a man, I would have littered a dozen by now. You don't need to be pounded by a pestle to get you pregnant. A few drops of piss should do. My son pisses, doesn't he? ಚಿನ್ನದ ನಡಪಟ್ಟಿ ರಣದ ನಡಪಟ್ಟಿ ಚಿನ್ನದ ನಡಪಟ್ಟಿ ಚಿನ್ನದ ನಡಪಟ್ಟಿ ಕೊಡತೇನ ಮೊಮ್ಮಗನ ಹಡೆದ ಸಸಿ ಮುದ್ದಿಗೆ Hey, Shiningi, come here. Feel this? Do you feel it? The Narpati? Pure gold, 18 sovereigns. Why don't you tell Singari to give her to her son quickly? I'll give her this gold Narpati if she gives me a grandson. The old lady was forever singing about her gold Narpati and how she would give it to her daughter-in-law on the birth of her grandson. But her son Desai was like a worm-eaten cob. To make it worse, he had the fainting spell as well. The only thing that roused his interest was acting in the Bayalata. He wore a grand turban on his head, but his wrinkled shirt and dhoti had nothing in common with the turban. There was nothing royal about his bearing either. He dragged his feet like a lazy, good-for-nothing wastrel. He was completely lost in the make-believe world of Bayalata. Because he paid for the entire Bayalata, the others let him think he was a great actor, but laughed behind his back. How was that, huh? Did you hear a single false note in it? How could you? When we started the song with Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Da Ni, there's magic in Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Da Ni. Once you've caught those 7 notes, you know everything there is to know in music. Imagine an artist of our caliber acting in Bayalata with these ignorant, tone-deaf rustics. Akatakata, such is the irony of fate. Do you know what the maestro who taught us this divine art said? Maharaj, you are a born artist, a genius, unparalleled. Since there was none beside our noble self when he paid us this tribute, the world has remained ignorant of it.
Dittai ditanu thai. Dittai ditanu thai. Thai 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 thai. Thai 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 thai. Thai. शशिमुख सरोज लोचनि बारे बारे शशिमुख सरोज लोचनि बारे 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 मारनतापदि परि परि ಬಳಲುವೆ ಮಾರನತಾಪದಿ ಪರಿ ಪರಿ ಬಳಲುವೆ ಕಾಂತ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಕಾಂತದಿ ಬಂದಿಹೆ ಕಾಂತ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಕಾಂತದಿ ಬಂದಿಹೆ ಮಂದಗಮನೆ ಸಂತೋಷಗೊಳಿಸು ಸಂತೋಷಗೊಳಿಸು.
Oh, lotus-eyed beauty, come, heal this bleeding heart wounded by Cupid's arrows. Huh? When lords of 56 kingdoms have bowed before us and brought us barrels of bullion, do you, our wedded wife, bar us from your blissful presence? Who goes there? Oh, it's only Shiningava, is it? What brings you here, our loyal subject? Oh, the same old water shortage. Rest assured, woman, it shall be attended to. Oh, Paramasiddhi, come, do come in. We hope you received the jewels we had borrowed from you for our wedding. We had to lie to Adorsani in order not to hurt her. We were able to silence her misgivings with the assurance that the jewels would be kept in a safe place. How are the preparations for the Bailata? The royal hero will be played by us as usual, we hope. The king's costume has already been stitched. We've gone into considerable expenses to have these shoulder guards made. As for the royal sword, this ancestral silver sword should prove more than adequate. Ours is a royal family after all. Our ancestor was invited, the Maharaja of Mysore, to sit behind him on the throne. Being a member of the royal family in real life, we should have absolutely no difficulty playing the king. You there, let our guest be served a drink. You there, you there, where are all our men? Paramasetti, you are not to worry about the expenses of the Bailata. Just add them to our accounts. You've had the privilege of lending us money in the past, in return for which favor you've already been promised another of our rich orchards. We shall go to Gokak to sign the deed as soon as the Bailata is over. Has the beauty who plays a royal concert arrived in our land yet? We shall proceed towards the cottage behind your establishment to behold that beauteous damsel. Ha, priye, pranakante. What I couldn't understand at first was why the fellow would go after a whore of an actress when he had the goddess of beauty herself for his wife. I asked Singare about it one day. What can I say, Shiningi? He gets drunk and staggers home late every night. If he finds me asleep on the floor, he sleeps on the cot. If I'm sleeping in the cot, he sleeps on the floor. When he wakes up in the morning, he rolls his eyes in surprise. Did you sleep in this room too? How am I supposed to have any children? They don't drop from the ceiling, do they? Hey, just because he doesn't come to you, it doesn't mean you should stay away from him. Be smart. I think I got my message across. That night, I lay awake for a long time thinking about Singareva. Just then, she came running down the stairs and said, Shinigi, come with me fast. I ran up the stairs to find Desai lying on the floor. He was unconscious. His face had turned red like an ant. Singareva rushed to the old lady's chamber in a panic. But the old lady calmly said, don't get so flustered. Just crush an onion and hold it to his nose. He'll be all right in the morning. Next morning, Singareva told me what had happened that night. Desa had come home drunk as usual and lay down on the cot. Singareva was lying on the floor. She went and lay next to him and started caressing his chest. Desa jumped up, brightened the lamp, and sat staring at his wife. Feeling shy, Singareva covered her face. Slowly, Desai started pulling her sari up from her ankle. He had barely reached the knees before he had dropped to the ground in a dead faint. Now I knew why Desai was always carried home unconscious whenever they had the Bailata. They used to get a whore of an actress from Altagi for the show, you see. And after the show, Desai would walk across to Paramasetti's shack and ogle at the whore's thighs through a chink in the door. She would stand in the lamplight and lift her sari. And before she had revealed her thighs, Desai would be out, flat on the floor. The villagers knew about his weakness and even exploited it. With a husband like this, how was Singareva ever going to get pregnant? Her prayers and rituals and fasts were all a waste. One afternoon, looking for Singareva, I went into the cowshed. She was busy talking to our maid Nanji. I hid behind a pillar and listened. Hey, Nanji, how does it feel inside? Careful, Nanji, careful. You shouldn't sit or rise too fast. You needn't go to the fields from tomorrow. It's your first pregnancy after all. Hey, tell me, does your husband love you more now? Hey, come on. What? Did he really feel and kiss your stomach? Ay, Shiva. Hey, Nanji, can I ask you something? Can I? Just once. Can I feel your stomach? How does it feel inside? Is it like holding a little bird in your palm? Nanji, go home now. Tell me what dishes you'd like to eat. I'll cook all of them and send them with Shiningi. When I reached Nanji's hut, I found a large group of women in her front yard. Her mother-in-law was wailing and cursing someone. A neighbor who saw me dragged me to a corner. Hey, what is this, Shiningaka? How could the young Dorsani do this? I believe she touched Nanji's stomach. How can an unborn babe survive the touch of a barren woman? Nanji barely reached home before she miscarried. I didn't utter a word, just rushed back to the palace and without stopping to think what I was doing, told Singareva the entire story. She collapsed to the ground like a tender bamboo shoot caught in a whirlwind. What more does Shiva have in store for me, Shiningi? She wailed. She hugged me real tight and said, Shiva too has deserted me, Shiningi. She had barely uttered these words when we heard the main door bang open. We turned to see a Jangama fill the length and breadth of the doorway. A saffron-clad black body with eyes flaming like torches. He held a lamp in one hand and his begging bag in the other. You shall bear fruit, woman. If Shiva does not give you fruit, I shall twist his foot. He thundered and vanished. That Jangama's name was Huchaya. He was a strange fellow. He was homeless and slept anywhere he liked. He'd barge into somebody's kitchen and say, Shiva shall eat here today. And now he had come into the palace uninvited. I'd heard the villagers say his words always came true. But Desai didn't touch Singareva during the next 8 months. How was she get pregnant then? One day, I decided to go and see Huchaya myself without telling Singareva. I bumped into him on the way. Aren't you Shiningava of the palace? How is your Dorsani? Hey, it's 8 months since you said she'd conceived. There's no sign of it so far, I told him. He closed his eyes for a bit and opened them again. Knotting his eyebrows, he said, It shall not be day nor night, but twilight when Shiva visits the palace. You go on ahead. In the evening, he came into the palace through the back door and said to Dorsani, Give me your hand. I could see his face flush and hands tremble as he held hers. He traced the lines on her palm and swallowed hard. You shall bear fruit, woman, but you will have to worship Shiva on the night of the new moon. No one but I shall be there when you do it. Tell me, when there are elders in the house, can a daughter-in-law perform a puja all by herself? But the Jangama wouldn't have it any other way. We shall not have the puja if you cannot do it alone, he said. That night, I tried speaking to the old Dorsani about it. No. Jangamas are not welcome in this house. Don't let the rogue step into the palace. The old lady was quite emphatic. Singareva raised the subject gently with Desai. They say Huchaya's words always come true. Is that so? But he dismissed the whole thing with, Hey, that Jangama is a scoundrel. How can his predictions come true? So we decided to drop the idea of the puja. On the same new moon day that the puja was to happen, Gowda landed on us. After lunch, as he sat chewing betel leaves, he sent for his daughter. Enava, the last time I was here, you were so sure you would bear a son and ask me over to see him. I waited a long time for the invitation. When I didn't get one, I thought I should come and see for myself. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. You have a brother now. Your stepmother has given me a son. Even as I was thinking, Shiva, you have given me enough children now. Another of your stepmothers gets pregnant. Look at the irony of it, Desai. Shiva gives more children to those who say they have enough, whereas he doesn't give any to those who beg him for a child. Now that I have a son, why don't you adopt him? I don't mind giving him to you. With every word he spoke, Gowda looked slyly at his daughter to see if his words had stung her. That night, after he had seen his father-in-law off, Desai went to see a bailata show in the neighboring village. Singareva said, Shiningi, keep the back door open. Let Huchaya come. We will have the puja. I was about to say, don't Yava, who are we to put Shiva on trial? But when I saw the torches flaming in her eyes, I swallowed my words. Singareva had decided to wrench children from Shiva's hand. So I prepared for the puja. After pasting the floor with the dung of a black cow, I got the puja articles which I had asked for and made some ganjala by mixing cow dung in a pot full of water. Darsani had her bath and changed into a dry sari. As I turned to the door wondering why Huchaya hadn't come in yet, I thought I saw a black shadow flit across the door. So I went to check. And there he was, standing right behind the door. I had a strong suspicion Huchaya had stood there all the time and watched Darsani remove her wet sari. I'd better be careful, I told myself. Huchaya came in quietly. He had smeared ash all over his body and carried his begging bag on his arms. From that bag, he took out a few bones and a skull. What? Between your teeth. With a loud chant, he poured the potful of ganjala over Singareva's head. Just then we heard a sound. Someone was knocking on the main door. Open the door, you son of a bitch! Desai's voice. We are ruined, Yava. I ran to the stair door, bolted it shut, and cleared all traces of the puja. Huchaya was trembling with fear and scuttling around, looking for a corner to squeeze himself into. By now, Desai had come up the stairs and was knocking on our door. I put Singareva onto the cot and covered her with a sheet. Oh, what was I to do with this Huchaya? I don't know where I got the idea from. I rolled him up in a mattress and heaved it onto the ledge. Desai barged in with his gun. What took you all so long? Are you all dead or what? And started poking around. How dare you sneak into our harem, you yellow-livered, slimy, slithering worm? You shall not escape us, you villain! Hugging his gun like a heroic warrior, he stalked to the window and shot into the air. Dum! Dum! That must have satisfied him. Shiningi, you may secure the door now, and thumped his way down the stairs. Oh, Shiva, let's get rid of this Uchaya first, I thought, and said, Swami. Where was the Swami? He had already left for his heavenly abode. Just the sound of the bullets had frightened him to death. Singareva was in a panic. Hey, Shiva, what do we do now, Shiningi? Hey, have some courage, Yava. All we need to do is get rid of the body. I'll fetch one of our farmhands to do it. When I reached a row of huts where our farmhands lived, I found a man sleeping outside the first hut. I woke him up and said, "Come with me, Darsani wants you," and brought him to the palace. He took one look at the corpse and turned sharply to Singareva. And then, as if he was in no hurry at all, he sat down and took out a beedi. What arrogance, I thought. When he struck the match, I saw his face. It seemed familiar. "Hey, aren't you our old farmhand Maria?" I asked him. "You mean our Maria?" Singareva said excitedly. "Hey Maria, why don't you get rid of this body first? We shall sit down and have a nice chat later." "What will you give me in return?" 1,000 rupees. "Suppose I say I won't? 5,000? 10,000? No, not even if you made me a desai." "Here, lie with me just once and I'll get rid of the corpse for you." "What? Lie with a slave who ate our leftovers? How dare you?" "Forget it then. Here, I'm off. I shall tell the villagers how Dorsani has killed Huchaya. The police Fausta will be here before morning to handcuff you and drag you off to prison." Maria started for the door. I knew it wasn't safe to let him go out like that, so I fell at his feet. "Please don't, Maria. Think of all the food we stole to save you from dying of hunger." "Don't, Shinigi. Don't grovel at his feet. I'd rather jump into a well and end all this." "In that case, why not lie with me once before you die?" Maria grabbed Singareva and kissed her so violently, she didn't have the strength to push him. What was I supposed to do? I led her straight into the tiger's mouth. I just stopped looking that way. Singareva lay like a lump of raw flesh. Maria was mauling her like a ravenous tiger. She was screaming in pain. "Ayyo! Yava!" In all this commotion, Huchaya's body slid down and fell on top of them. Letting go of Singareva, Maria tucked in his dhoti, heaved the corpse onto his shoulder, and walked out, smacking his lips. Singareva lay groaning, too weak even to cover her thighs. Why did all this happen to Singareva of all the people? She had never harmed anybody, never even wished them ill. Her heart ached for those in pain. The villagers sang songs about her beauty and virtues. They had no idea how miserable her own life was. We were well into the month of monsoons then, but it hadn't rained yet, so planting hadn't begun either. It looked like a year of drought. The villagers hadn't overlooked any ritual that could bring rain. Huchaya was the man our village needed at such times. People believed he could bring rain even if it meant dragging down rain god. Since there was no sign of Huchaya, many thought he had gone to get rain. Then they discovered his body in Kumudava's temple, sitting in a posture of meditation. Nobody in the village knew how Huchaya had died in the palace. They said he had gone to heaven in order to send rain. This doubled their faith in him. Devotees flocked in from the neighboring villages, singing prayers as they came. they had decorated the hearse and placed his body inside it. The sound of drums and pipes was deafening. The way they hailed their Uchaya Maharaj and praised him, you would think God himself had died. Jai! 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 When the procession was passing in front of the palace, a miracle happened. I don't know if the rain god hiding in the sky had heard their cries, or if Uchaya had sent rain from Kailasa, the abode of Shiva. But before we knew, black clouds filled the sky and rain came pouring down. Each drop was as big as a beetle nut. People sang, danced and hailed Uchaya's name. Jai! That day, Uchaya became a greater god than Kumudava. Singareva lay ill in the palace. Her fever hadn't come down even after 8 days. She was delirious. How can you be my father? You are my enemy too, she'd spit out in disgust. Hey, Shiringi, has our cow Kapli calved again? She'd ask. Why don't you give Maria some of those snacks? Hey, Maria, let a snake bite your hand. Let the tiger eat you up. Ooh, she'd wail. Days I would come up once a day and sit for a few minutes without speaking a word. Maybe he couldn't find a piece of dialogue from his biolata to suit the occasion. Meanwhile, Maria had established himself as a trusted servant in the palace and made himself indispensable. He barged into Singareva's room whenever he wanted her. We were so helpless, we lived in constant fear of him. Finally, one day, we decided to get rid of him. Singareva told me to cook his food separately and gave me some poison to mix with it. But as I sat cooking, I felt sick at the thought of killing him. So, without Singareva's knowledge, I threw the poison into fire. Maria sat down to eat. He was just about to eat when Singareva came charging and kicked his plate away. She grabbed me by the arm and dragged me to her room upstairs. Hey, Shiningi, isn't it 2 days before the full moon that I usually get my periods? Yes. It's 8 days since the full moon and I still haven't got my periods. So, hey, don't you understand, stupid? I must be pregnant. Ay, Tai, may Shiva grant you your wish. I was so thrilled that when we went to see the old lady that night, I couldn't hold back the news. Your daughter-in-law has missed her periods this month, I told her. The old lady was so ecstatic. She hopped on the bed, got Singareva, removed her gold nadapatti and fixed it round Singareva's. You have the blessings of the elders, my dear. Go sleep now. Hey, Shiningi, Singari is like a tender flower now. Give her all the care she needs. Kumudava, now I can die in peace. Next morning, when I went to help the old lady with her toilet, I found her dead. I can't tell you how miserable Singareva was. Your song too died with you, Atti. It was only later that I understood her words. Singareva had started her periods that day. The funeral rites gave Gowda the excuse to come to the palace several times. And whenever he was here, he would poke his nose into the palace affairs or speak about adoption. During one of these visits, he said, I must speak to my daughter urgently, and barged into her room upstairs. Paramsetti is waiting to get his hands on the palace. That's why he's making Desai spend so much money on Bialata and getting him deeper into debt. The property would have remained with us If only you'd agree to the adoption. Don't you need a place to come to when your husband is dead? Besides, we have other problems too. The loans I took for your marriage aren't cleared yet. When Singareva heard this, she went into a rage. Oh, you did me a great favor by getting me married, didn't you? No other father in the world would have done that to his daughter. First, you get me married to a corpse and grab all the property there, and then you get me married a second time, hoping this husband would die quickly too, and you can have his wealth as well. You're annoyed, aren't you? Things didn't turn out the way you wanted. Listen, this is my only home. I'll keep my husband alive. I'll bury my son and ask you over to see him. Until then, don't you dare step into this house again. Now, get out! There he goes. He brings a bodyguard with him whenever he comes here because he's scared of Maria. Doesn't the brute have a heart? What a life Shiva has destined for me, Shiningi. All that Desai ever does, it ogle at horse thighs. What joy have I to live for? I'm sick of this palace. Hey, the tamarind grove. Why don't we go to the tamarind grove? Just once. I know women are not supposed to go there, but those green trees make me forget my misery. The Shiki full moon festival is here anyway. I'll tell Desai we are going to the orchard for a picnic. You get the food ready. We'll cook something special like holgi, jwaldodi, pundi palle. Shiningi, haven't you packed the basket yet? Ningya has the cart ready. Get in with the basket. It's been so long since I stepped out of the palace. The fields are so green, they seem to sparkle. Hey Ningya, isn't that our orchard? Look, Shiningi, they have planted groundnuts in the shallows. Yuvi, look at the sugar cane. It's grown so tall. Hey, Ningya, why don't you break some nice sugar cane for us? Shiningi, look, there's a stream flowing through here. Come, let's dip our feet in water. With the fish, there's so many of them. Hey, hey, stand still. See how they kiss your feet? Hey Ningya, we're pretty close to the village, aren't we? Why don't you pick up the basket and drive the cart home? Shiningi and I can easily walk back to the village. Oh. Shiningi, the tamarind grove. Oh, Shiva, what a beautiful grove. Each tree is as big as a mountain. Oh, how beautiful. Hey, Shiningi, look, the setting sun makes the leaves sparkle like gems. Oh, Shiningi, I'm here. I can reach the tender shoots in this tree. Oh, the moon's out already. Shiningi, I can see stars between the leaves. Oh, Shiningi, what a beautiful grove this is. I wish we could stay on here forever. I don't want to go back. Hey, look, there's a hut here and a lamp burning in it. I wonder who lives here. Come, let's take a look. Maria, what are you doing here? Hey, let her go. Shiningi, Shiningi. There's blood on your clothes. Who did you kill this time? No, don't touch me. Shinigi. Shinigi. Wake up, Shinigi. You passed out because your head hit a stone when Maria pushed you. The beast raped me again. He's completely drunk. He's killed my father and his bodyguard. I managed to push him into the hut, bolt the door from outside, and set fire to it. Come, let's run home quickly. The villagers will be here the moment they see the fire. Come, let's run. Look at those flames leaping to the skies. Shut them in, Shinigi. I can't bear to look at them. I'm shivering all over. I feel so feverish. I can't even sleep. The moment I shut my eyes, I see my father's ghost dancing in the flames. Get me the gourd of toddy from their size room, will you? I know he was a scoundrel, but he was my father. Imagine a daughter setting fire to her father's body. His ghost will haunt me for the rest of my life. I want to die, Shinigi. I have nothing left to live for. Why did you follow me into this misery? Listen, it's time you got married. I'll find you a sturdy young man. You can both live in the palace. Give birth to a son before the year is through, and I'll adopt him. At least that way, I can give you something in return for all that you have done for me. I'll hold on to life until then. Pass me the kumkum. I guess I have to make a show of wearing it. Ah! I ran to see what she'd seen in the mirror to frighten her so, and found Maria emerge from behind the cart. Don't scream. The police are in the village looking for me. If you betray me, I'll see you land in jail with me. Singari, don't forget, your veil is still lying in the tamarind grove. We had no choice. We hid him in Dorsani's chamber. Singareva came down with a fever which lasted over a week. This time, she had lost complete control of herself. She'd bang her head, scream suddenly, and run all over the room as if some ghost was after her. I pleaded with Desai, your Dwarsani is dying. Please, get her to a doctor quickly. And he said, yes, we shall, and left for the Bailata rehearsals. When he came back, it was past midnight, and he was dead drunk. One day, she just ran towards the back door, and I caught her just as she was trying to open the door. She struggled hard to free herself and soon collapsed to the ground. How do I carry her up the stairs now? I wondered. Maria, who'd been standing outside his door watching, said, don't worry, Shinigi, I'll carry her. What? Yes, she has gone cold. Quick, rubber soles. I'll blow into her ear. Yava. She's moving. Thank God. She's still alive. It's better she doesn't see me when she opens her eyes. I'll sit on the stairs. You sit close and fan her. This herb, if you grind it and smear the paste on her forehead, palms and soles, the fever is sure to come down by morning. It's all because of me, Shiningi. I never meant to harm her. Whatever I did was because I loved her. She has a heart of gold. Even as a little girl, she saved me from her father's beatings by hugging me. Me, an untouchable Holaya boy. And when he tried to starve me, she gave me her share of food. The entire cowshed would light up whenever she came in. I swear, Shiningi, I have never looked at another woman in all my life. It was a Father Gowda I was angry with. He stole my land, seduced my mother, and made my life miserable. I wanted to kill both of them, Gowda and my mother. I got mother, but the son of a bitch, Gowda, got away. And now the rogue comes here to rob his daughter's palace. He was scared I'd block him. So he tells Desai tales about me and has me thrown out of the palace. How could I stand by and let that son of a bitch rob Singari of everything? Wasn't it for her sake that I came into the palace? I've hungered for her for so many years. How can any man help wanting to hug her and kiss her? What if I'm only a slave? I'm a man too. Remember that day when she wanted me to pluck some mangoes for her and I insisted she came and took them from me herself? When I saw her come to me, I forgot I was only a low-caste slave and she, Gowda's daughter. I hugged her and kissed her so hungrily. After that day, she never came anywhere near me. Didn't touch a single thing I got for her. I left the village after killing mother and arrived in Shivapura when I heard of Singari's marriage to Desai. Huchaya's death gave me the chance I was waiting for to get into the palace. I massaged Desai's feet and flattered him with Sarkar, Sarkar, and became his trusted servant. Whenever Desai was to leave for Gokak to register his lands in Paramsetti's name, I have stopped him by getting him drunk. I made sure the palace doesn't slip out of our hands by hiding the papers. But with Singari, I have behaved like a rotten beast. I have tortured her, made her miserable. She's sweating. That means the fever is gone. We needn't worry anymore. I'll go now. I'll never bother her again. Take good care of her, Shiningi. Singareva's plight had softened even a heartless beast like Maria, but it made no dent in Desai's heart. Even while lying sick, Singareva would ask, "Hasn't Desai come home yet?" But he went on as if everything was just fine, got up at his leisure, ate as usual, and left for the Bailata rehearsals. His pockets were bulging with money these days. If we are not careful, Paramsetti will have the palace registered in his name before this Bailata is over. Maria warned me, keep your husband away from Bailata or stop him from selling the palace at least. I told Singareva. She said she'd speak with him and had him come up to her room. This is what she told him. Your ancestors have lived in this palace for 300 years in such grandeur. Wouldn't it be a shame to pawn it with a petty shopkeeper? The palace needs a child. It's being orphaned because of your bad habits. I know you don't love me as a husband should. I have learned to live with that. But don't you feel a sense of duty towards me? Shouldn't you at least try and save your dying wife? Instead of ogling at whores, why don't you look at me? Think of me as your whore. I'll even bear my body as they do, if that makes you happy. Why don't you come home early this evening? I'll serve you your drink. Desai must have felt ashamed to hear such words from a well-born wife like Singareva. From now on, I'll come home straight from rehearsals, he said. I wouldn't be surprised if he mends his ways, I thought. That is the effect Singareva had on people. At first, Desai did seem to mend his ways. That day, he actually walked home from the rehearsals. Though it was late and he was quite drunk, the next night was the same. I can't tell you how happy Singareva was. Oh, the way she massaged his back, served him food and fawned over him. The next day was the festival of Deepavali. The Bailata was to be staged that night. Once that was done, we'd be rid of that whore of an actress. That night, Singareva decked herself up and flitted about the palace so charmingly. She thought she had finally won her husband back. But such good fortune was not for Desai. He was born to be a degenerate. Around midnight, Maria carried Desai home, unconscious as usual. Master was lying senseless outside Paramsetti's shack. Setti and the whore were laughing inside. They wouldn't even come out. Nobody was prepared to bring Master home, so I had to carry him myself. Singareva was burning with rage. She wouldn't even touch Desai. When I went to hold a crushed onion to his nose, she snatched the onion from me and threw it out of the window. Let the bastard die, she said. When she saw Maria massaging his feet, she snapped, There's no need for you to do that. Maria began to leave. Hey, Maria, wait, she told him. There was something odd about her voice. You shouldn't push even a saint beyond a point. If you do, he'll curse you. Desai had pushed Singareva beyond that point. She went close to the bed and shoved Desai off like one kicks a dead dog. Shiningi, go downstairs. Come, Maria, lie with me. Ever Singareva came close to happiness, it was during the months that followed. I don't know if it was because of her anger towards Desai or because she has never felt such pleasure before. She reveled in it quite brazenly. She was no longer the gloomy Dorsani of the past. Now she was Singari in the real sense of the term, beautiful, luscious, and pleasure-loving. She decked herself up every day, combed her hair, wore a bright-colored sari, drank half a gourd of toddy, and with lips red from chewing betel leaves, came sailing down the stairs like a goddess. But when she had a few drops more to drink, you caught a glimpse of the agony inside. Shiningi, I have daggers in my stomach, piercing me. It's all because of Desai. I want to kill him every time I see him. Let him ogle at whore's thighs if he wants to, or let him die, but don't let him come anywhere near me. All this ranting lasted only till Maria appeared on the scene. Maria too was a changed man, though he appeared the same outside. Before this, I would have never believed even a fellow like Maria could have a soul. Singareva found it for him. He worshipped the ground she walked on and catered to every whim of hers. He didn't barge into Singareva's room like he used to before. Now he was very particular about Singareva's honor. But Desai remained exactly the same. There was no change in his routine or behavior. How could there be? He wasn't human, if you ask me. The man hadn't shed a tear even when his own mother died. He was so steeped in his perversions, he didn't even know he'd lost his Dorsani. That's why sometimes I felt he deserved to lose her. Nothing much happened until Singareva got pregnant and her mother Ninga Ugorti came on a visit. She told us about Gowda's disappearance and how his other wives had made her life miserable. I'm sure Gowda is dead. How long will people put up with such a fellow? They say Shiratti family must have had him killed. Eh? Kanda, are you pregnant? Ay, my darling, my precious, at last. Why didn't you tell me before? My Singari, my lovely one. Hey, what is this, son-in-law? At least you could have told us Singari was pregnant. Desai widened his eyes, turned pale and muttered, "Pregnant, pregnant," and collapsed to the ground in a faint. Singareva walked away as if nothing at all had happened. Desai didn't speak a word about it until Ningau had left. The day she left, he wouldn't come out of his room even to eat. Finally, Dorsani herself went to call him. Desai asked her in a squeaky voice, "Is it true you are with child? Which slave of mine is the father?" Singareva controlled her anger. "Why don't you think of it as yours? The palace needs a child. Before your mother died, she gave me her gold narpati and blessed me. 'May you have many children, my daughter,' she said. Do you want her proved wrong? You are forever busy with your bailata. Don't you want an heir? If you want to live in this palace, you must abort the child." "Why are you being so stubborn? An angel has come from another land. He doesn't stand on pride. He will run round the palace pillars, singing, dancing, laughing. The pillars will speak to him." Singareva was going on like this when Desai screeched, "You adulterous whore! We shall not let your bastard child defile our palace," and rammed his head into her womb. She fell back, screaming in pain. When she came to, the mother was furious. She turned towards Desai's room and started cursing him. "How dare you attack my womb, you filthy dog? There's no blood flowing in your veins, only poison, you cold-blooded snake. If you were human, you would have known the kind of woman I am. You no good son of a bitch. Every passing Jangama cursed your palace. I vowed to defy, I vowed to prove them wrong and raise children here. If you were man enough, I would have filled the palace with children by now. Look at you, ogling at horse thighs and falling senseless in the street. You call me a whore? You made me one. You and your perversions played pimp and turned me into a whore. Don't get angry, you filthy scum. You might just die. You don't even have the strength to be angry. I have the strength to bear 1,000 children. I was meant for that. Why should I be made childless for the sake of your honor? If you ever come near me again, I will burn your palace down, roast you in that fire and eat you up. Hushar. Singareva never forgave Desai. More than his head, he had hurt her with his words. She drank to forget the pain. And when she was drunk, she did such crazy things. Her actions frightened me. One day she said she was going to wreck the palace and threw things all over the place. When I went to pacify her, she dragged me to the window. "Listen, Shiningi, do you hear the cuckoo singing in the tamarind grove?" It wasn't at all for the season for the cuckoo to sing. She was only half aware most of the time. That afternoon, I found Maria in a heated conversation with Dorsani. When I saw how she was seething with rage, I was worried. That night, she drained an entire bottle of liquor. She seemed to be seriously worried about something. Feeling tired, I went to sleep early that night. A noise woke me up around midnight. I opened my eyes to find Maria bringing Dorsani into the palace. She seemed terrified. Maria went out again and came back carrying Desai. There was nothing unusual about his carrying Desai home. But where had Dorsani come from? I sensed a mystery. It took me a long time to go back to sleep again. When I woke up, it was sunlight. And I found Dorsani wandering in the Darbar hall, muttering to herself, "Let the ancestors of this palace know I am not an adulteress. Let them also know it was because of their impotent Maharaja that all this happened. If there are gods in this palace, any ancestral souls residing here, they'll know the kind of woman I am. If I have committed adultery, they will know it was only to have children blossoming among these pillars. Singareva was going on like this. A gunshot. It had come from Desai's room. We all ran to his chamber. Desai had shot himself dead. He wasn't the kind of man to die a quiet, harmless death. He had left a letter behind him. Singareva opened the letter and read it through. To Chi Sau Singari Bai, Dursani of Shivapura village, Gokak Talu, Belgaum district. Our joy knew no bounds when, following our delightful wedding, you walked into our mansion. We imagined you to be a gem in the galaxy of loyal wives and a pearl among virtuous women. But, like a tiger in the guise of a cow, you were a different person from what you appeared to be. While you were an ideal Hindu wife outside, you were a treacherous whore inside. We did not realize at first that you were a woman of pleasure whose sole ambition was to plunder our golden palace. During your childhood in your parental home, you had sought the company of that mindless Holaya Maria and indulged in the extremity of pleasure with him. Even marriage did not teach you to be virtuous. You charmed the numbskull into coming speedily here after you. You deceived this husband of yours and conspired against him. Oh, what is it but misfortune that kept us from the knowledge of your treachery until the very end? You were caught in the end, betrayed by your pregnancy. When we inquired about the identity of the man who had impregnated you, you ignored our inquiry most insensitively. By conceiving an illegitimate child, you defiled the lotus-like purity of this palace. Finally, we arrived at the decision that death was 1,000 times more preferable to showing our blackened face to our beloved subjects in Shivapura. Meanwhile, that villain Maria had tempted us with the prospect of feasting our eyes on the beautiful body of the royal courtesan of Kollapura. Hi, Dick, you deceived us even there. For when we peeped into the hut with the expectation of feasting our eyes with the beautiful body of the royal courtesan, we find you standing there instead of her, naked. A winsome wife, you stood there like a strumpet bearing your body. The sight drained us of all pleasure and filled us with pain. But we did not faint as you imagined we did. To one renowned through the length and breadth of the land as the greatest ballad actor of all times, pretending to faint was not at all a difficult task. Fooled by our act, that villain Maria carried us back to the palace. But we had already been charmed by the treacherous words of that Holaya into writing off the palace. You had emerged triumphant in your plot. The palace was yours. The cool rays of the moon might heat up, scorching sun cool down, oceans might dry up, but an adulteress like you will never bring happiness into this world. We shall proclaim it again and again with hands folded in salute to all the sons of this sacred land. We shall also testify before Goddess Kumudava, who rules over this land, that you killed us with your own hand. If you have any humanity left in you, confess in the court of justice that you killed us and embrace imprisonment. This is our final wish. We bow down in humility to all the learned men. Saregam Desai. That was it. She was gone. Never came back again. I don't know what Desai had written in this wretched letter. She told the police Fauza she had killed him herself. Maria and I pleaded, no, she didn't do it, she's lying. But she wouldn't listen. Just placed the Nadpati in my hand and followed the police Fauza to prison without a trace of fear or hesitation. And as if she had been waiting for her son to be born, she died at childbirth. I have brought up the son myself. We called him Ravi Chandra. He is the heir to the palace. He wanted to sell the palace and settle down in the city. Because the villagers asked him, he has allowed them to use it as the village school. Singareva, at least this way your wish has come true. The palace is finally filled with children. Who? Maria. Maria died of snake bite within 3 days of Singareva's death. The snake didn't attack him. He held the snake in his hand until it bit him. During those 3 days, he neither ate nor slept, just sat under that patre tree over there. And before he died, he called out once, Singari! The blessed ones are all dead. Only this sinner still lives on. Oh, Singareva, I'm tired of this lonely life. I have no life without you. Hey, come down from the pillars. You will ruin the carving. How mischievous these children are. Hey, use that dancing of Garsani's bed. Hey, catch him, don't let him go. Hey.